Okay, gentlemen, down to business.
Yes, gentlemen, down to business.
Right, but did you hear me go through the "Are you addressing me" routine?
I did get that bit. Yeah.
He goes into court. They call the name Garda such and such, policeman, constable, Garda such and such, and Dave Kearney. He leans forward and he says, "Are you addressing me?" They say, "Dave Kearney, is it?" And he says, "Are you addressing me?" And the judge said something along the lines of, "I don't know," stood up and left. That was it.
That was the end of the case?
Well, there was no case, apparently.
Ah, okay.
All
right.
You're starting to get why I needed to put you two together, Dave, because it sounds from what me and Vim have been talking about like your approach is likely to be a bit of a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Yeah. In fact, it's a nuclear bomb to crack a peanut. And it's already got no shell in it.
Okay.
What you have to realise is they're sitting there, they're a peanut without the shell, but they've painted it themselves to look like they're made of steel, but they're not.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if I ever go in there, I'm actually trying to be as careful as I can so as not to hurt them.
So the idea of, exposing anything is a bit of a no-no then?
That's dishonourable. It might get MI5 or MI6 on your ass, so I don't know if I'd do that.
So exposing fraud is dishonourable?
How about allowing...
I mean, that's all out there anyway. So, if you want them to recognise you as a sovereign man, then you got to behave like one. So you've got to behave with dignity and decorum. Not respect. You don't have to show them respect. But you show your self-respect by behaving with dignity and decorum.
Sure.
They see that. They can feel it off you. So if they say, case number blah, 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 Dave Murphy, yada, yada, well, are you addressing me? If they say, yes, I'm addressing you, who is addressing me? Well, they would say, oh, well, I'm Judge such and such. He said the magic word. Under God, so help me God, that is your oath. Now we have a binding contract. And you say it in one breath. You make sure you draw your breath in. Boom. And you fire it out. One breath. Even if you're being pepper sprayed, you'll get to the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
Now he is on oath. So now if he's talking to you, that's his oath. Whether he likes it or not.
Right. But, typically, they won't admit the judge as such.
If he says judge, magistrate, sheriff, sheriffalty, bailiff, and 101 other different titles, there's a heap of titles. Once he says he's an officer, you give him the oath.
Yeah, but we saw in Roger Hayes' case, he wouldn't give anything away. So
yeah, no, that's
it's
well.
Like, it's
let me interrupt you there for a sec.
Okay,
let me interrupt you for a sec. Roger went about it completely the wrong way, my friend. And I like what Roger did in one regard, but he went the wrong way about it. Roger went in and he assumed that man was a judge. He didn't know he was a judge. He may have been an undersheriff.
Okay.
Then he didn't ask him who he was. He tried to tell him who he was. Then he called the constable, and you should listen to what that man said to the constable. Listen to that recording again. He said to the constable, well, actually, they called for a policeman when they should have called for a constable before. Mm-hmm. He said to that constable, I have been sitting as a judge for 12 years. He didn't say he was the judge. Now, if you want, I'll read it.
You see, now I needed to get you on the phone with Vinny, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Page 119 on this book is called Outlines of Constitutional Law, Chalmers and Asquith, 1922 edition. I'm going to read this to you. It's only one page. The Sheriff, Vice Combs, was formerly the deputy of the Earl or Earldoman of the Shire. And when the Bishop and Earl gradually desisted from judicial work at the county court, the Sheriff took upon himself their functions. When in the reign of Henry II, King's justice began to override the local justice, it frequently fell to the lot of the Sheriff to execute the King's writs. To this circumstance can be attributed the present function of the sheriff in executing writs of feri facias, elegit capias, etc. There are two kinds of sheriffs. Now get this. Sheriffs of counties and sheriffs of certain ancient cities and boroughs.
Right.
Chosen by those towns. I keep telling everybody sheriffs are elected. Nobody seems to know that. They have to be elected. The county sheriff is elected in the following manner. The Chancellor of the Exchequer and certain judges of the High Court meet at the Royal Palace of Justice, the Strand, Middlesex, on November the 12th in each year, and choose 3 men of sufficient means from the county. The sovereign pricks, that's P-R-I-C-K-S, pricks the name of one of these 3 men who is then duly constituted sheriff of the county for the year. The sheriff is bound to serve without salary, but he is consoled by the fact that he takes precedence over the entire county, the Lord Lieutenant excepted. That doesn't mean the Lord Lieutenant is over the sheriff, it just means he's not over the Lord Lieutenant.
Right.
Now, here we go. If he refuses his services, he can be fined. His duties are to execute High Court writs, summon juries, supervise executions of persons sentenced to death, and perform the duty of returning officer at a parliamentary election.
Right.
Since the passing of the Prisons Act, this is the bit I was telling you, since the passing of the Prisons Act 1877, the sheriff has no longer control over prisoners in his county. He has to wait upon the judges at the assizes and to pay liberally for their entertainment. Though almost all the duties of the sheriff are undertaken by his deputy, the under-sheriff, the former, being the sheriff, is responsible for the acts of the under-sheriff and all persons engaged under him. For example, locksmith, constables, policemen, bailiffs who execute writs of execution, etc., etc. Where the sheriff's underlings commit tortious acts in the course of their employment, the sheriff is responsible. Then it says, e.g., trespassing in a man's house. When judgment has been entered in the High Court for an unliquidated amount, which is interlocutory judgment, it often falls to the lot of the sheriff to assess the damages. On these occasions, now here we go, on these occasions, the under-sheriff sits in court as judge and hears both sides on the question of damages and all matters relevant thereto.
Oh.
So that's why he told the officer he was sitting as judge, not the judge. He didn't say, I am the judge, I'm a judge. He said, I've been sitting as judge. He's an under-sheriff.
Under-sheriff, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, is it likely that he's going...
He didn't lie, in other words.
Right.
They don't lie. I swear. I know people keep telling me I'm bonkers when I say banks don't lie and judges are impartial. People think I'm fucking bonkers, but it's true. Every case I've looked at so far, I can find that the judge is impartial, even if somebody thinks they've been royally screwed by a court system. They've usually been screwed because they fucked up. In other words, when you go into court, for example, if you were to say to me, blah, 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 case number, and I say, oh, are you addressing me? And you say, yes. Oh, well, and who is addressing me? Oh, I'm magistrate such and such. Under God, so help me God, that is your oath. Now we have a binding contract. Well, you could just look down at your paperwork, or you could call the prosecution or whatever you want to call the defendant over, and you could pick up the paperwork and you could throw it at them and say, don't ever bring shoddy paperwork like that into my courtroom again. Thank you very much for attending. You're free to go. Nobody in the courtroom has a clue what happened. In fact, everybody will think that the prosecution guy brought shit paperwork in front of the judge. Right. That's how they do it, you see. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And what the judge will do is he'll say, next time that guy comes in with a ropey case, I'll go a little easy on him. And that's how it's done. And nobody knows. Even I've seen this done in court, and even the fucking barristers don't notice. They might kind of go, what the fuck was that? Oh, he's in a mood today,
Yeah.
But he's not in a mood. He gave somebody a remedy and nobody saw it. So the man gets his remedy, he saves face, and everybody goes away happy. And nobody knows, and it doesn't get out. It's beautiful.
Right, so, yeah, I see it. I mean, I kind of suspected that would be the case, that they'll try and do something that will save face without giving the game away.
Yeah. So, for example, if, for example, you put him on his oath, I mean, he might come back at you again. He might say, well, officer, read the charges. He might test you. He might say, okay, well, this guy's going to try something. Well, I'll test him. Officer, read the charges. Well, Officer Bob here might start reading off, this charge, that charge, rape, murder, sodomy, paedophilia, whatever, non-payment. Oh, and non-payment of parking ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's looking for a reaction. If you react, you're screwed. And because eventually the guy in the high chair is going to look at you and say, how do you plead? And you just look at him with a blank expression and you go, I didn't hear the complaint. You say, officer, read the charges again. Read the charges again. He'll read the charges again, and you just look at him again. I didn't hear any complaint. I didn't hear a complaint.
In the form of a question, is there a complaint here?
No. You tell him you didn't hear a complaint. You're the judge.
Mm.
You just look at him and you tell him, I didn't hear a complaint.
It's about making statements, Dave, rather than answering questions.
You don't ask questions as such. You do, but you just tell him, well, I didn't hear a complaint. And he well, the officer here read charges. I didn't hear a complaint. You beat him across the head with the same comment. I didn't hear a complaint. You're letting him know. I don't give a fuck if he read Disneyland's will. It's not a complaint. I'm here for anybody got a complaint? Now, they might say, oh, well, okay, well, we'll turn it into a complaint. Officer, read your complaint. Oh, objection, he came here without a witness. Because the officer is the legal fiction, not the man. Right. And if they say, well, hold on, who is this guy? You've got a complaint against me? Who are you? I don't recognize you. Who are you? Let him identify himself. Well, he's going to say, I'm officer such and such. Is that the unit? Is that the suit talking, or is that the man? Which is which?
Yeah.
See, they're boxed. They won't let it get that. They wouldn't let it get that far. No way. Mm. You see, the uniform can't talk, right?
Right.
So the man is there jabbering. Well, tell him to shut up then. I want to talk to the officer.
Mm. Now you've switched it around in my head now. Because surely you'd want to talk to the human and determine if he's a valid complainant or a witness or whatever.
Well, he's already impeached himself by reading charges when he had the opportunity. When you say twice, I didn't hear a complaint, well, that's his opportunity to read a complaint. And if he doesn't read one, then there isn't one.
Right.
You don't ask. Why would you ask? If you ask, then fuck, he's asking for a complaint. Quick, give him a complaint. He's asking for one. So don't ask for one. Just tell him I didn't hear one. Right. If you didn't hear one, how can you make a determination?
And Dave, would I be right in thinking this was a stationary speed camera?
Yes, it would be. It's probably one of those.
So bring forth the complainant.
No, don't say. You don't. No.
I was being facetious, Finn.
Yeah.
But I'd like
so in other words,
bring the camera into court.
What I would do, let's say they say, a speed camera, blah, 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 number 15, fucking caught you rapid sunshine. Caught you fucking, you were only a fucking blur, right? Right? You were breaking the fucking speed with a sound barrier. Fantastic. Okay. So he starts yaggity, yaggity, yag. I don't hear no complaint. Right? And they say, well, it's a speed camera. Civil or criminal? You don't say, is it civil or criminal? You just, civil or criminal? You just make it a question by the intonation of your voice, you see?
Okay.
And if they say, well, civil. I recall signing no such contract.
Right.
Don't say, I don't recall. Because maybe you have bad memory and maybe you need to go to the psychiatric ward. They'll check your memory. But if you say, I recall signing no such contract, then that's their opportunity to go, hold on a minute, we'll go get the contract and bring it to you.
All right.
And if they don't do that, they've just impeached themselves again. And if they don't do that, they've just impeached themselves again. Now they're really starting to burn. So they might say, well, it's criminal. Spectacular. I don't hear a complaint.
There's no complaint. Who's the injured party?
No, you don't ask who's the injured party. You just say, I didn't hear a complaint. You don't give a fuck about injured parties. If there's a complaint, that is the injured party. That's the one complaining.
Okay.
But if they say, I don't hear a complaint. In other words, well, if that camera's upsetting me going fucking 100 miles an hour past it, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Keep your fucking nose out of my business.
So, as you said, it was, I recall signing no such contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, no such contract. Not any. Don't say I recall signing any contract. If you say I don't recall signing any contract, well, if you've ever signed a contract, they can pull any contract into the court and you're fucked.
Right, yeah.
So I don't recall signing. I recall signing no such contract. In other words, they must bring such a contract in.
Yeah.
It locks them in linguistically. It's like a keto, linguistic aikido.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the thing that Vim pointed out to me last night is that this is very much like a game of chess, but instead of aiming for checkmate, it's almost like you're aiming for a draw.
Yes.
So the best that you can really hope for in this circumstance is either that the judge is simply going to abandon the call.
Well, you are aiming for a draw, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're teaching somebody something, and you're in there to teach him something, you're in there to teach him that the population have finally copped on to what the hell is going on, and they've copped on how to behave in a sovereign fashion. That's what they want to see. They want your behavior, your decorum, how you attend to your matters, your private matters. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he starts throwing a wobbly and banging hammer off, you think, geez, this guy's like a fucking carpenter up the top of the tree, and you think he's trying to build a desk. Beat the shit out of it. What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Are you seeking private information? If he points the finger at you and he says, you are Dave Murphy, is that your testimony? He'll go mental if you say that to him. But it's a good one. It lets him know he's fucking testifying. Not you. It lets him know you're the judge, not him.
Wow.
Lets him know you know who you are.
Do you feel like you're a little underprepared before now, Dave?
Yes, actually. Up until now, I thought I had it down pat. I knew what I was going to say. Knew how I was going to handle it, no matter what. But
this method, if you will, it's very simple. It's very simple.
Right.
When I say, are you addressing me? You see, me, that's your flesh and blood, that's your body, and your spirit and your soul and all that lovely stuff, all rolled into one ball. Me. When you say I, you mean your intellect and reason.
Sure.
When you say I am me, am is also possessive, if you will. It's you possess your own body. It's only me inside. It's only I am only inside me here, and I exist in now time. Am is present tense. I always communicate or enter dialogue, if you will, in present tense.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, they like the old yes or no questions, or how long have you been beating your wife type of question. So if you say yes, you're screwed, and if you say no, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You beat your wife often. If you say no, you're screwed, and yes, you're screwed, right?
Yeah.
If you say, I don't beat my wife, well, now you've actually started the controversy. Well, funny enough, we have evidence that says you have.
Right.
So what's the response? What's an appropriate response? You see, you don't answer, you respond appropriately.
Mm.
So, I mean, for example, that's why, if they try to tell you something, if you think, is he trying to tell me something? Just ask him, say, well, is that your testimony? Are you testifying to that? Because, I mean, he's under oath, right? You gave him the oath. Under God, so help me God, that is your oath. You see, you're telling him that's your oath. You're not telling him this is my oath. And you see, that way, they won't even ask you to swear in. That's why they don't ask most people to see. They only ask people to swear in on criminal cases, and they only ask the people who are giving evidence to swear in. They don't ask the accused to swear in.
No.
The accused man is never standing there sworn in. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah, well, I guess not, because, presumably I thought it was that he couldn't be trusted.
Yeah, and he's in irons. I mean, see if they handcuff you, if you're there in handcuffs, and they start talking to you, I'd be very happy to say, I can't talk, I'm under duress. And say, why? Well, I'd hold up and say, look, I'm fucking chained to this fucking idiot over here. You know, that's what under duress is. They might say you look comfortable, perhaps, but I'm under duress. I always, perhaps, possibly, maybe. Do you know how fast you were going? I don't know. Why don't you know? Well, it fills me with delight to tell you I don't know why I don't know, but I'm very happy to also inform you that I don't know. You can't be found guilty for what you don't know. You can only be found guilty for what you know.
Oh, indeed.
And you see, they even say, we find you guilty, not you are guilty. And the only way they can find your guilt is if we're dumb enough to show it to them.
Show it to them, yeah.
So don't show it to them. It's private, right?
Right. You see, I've got I feel I know, like who I am and who the judge is, and.
Well, you see, you're the judge. You are the judge. When you dish out the oath, and when people start saying to you, "Oh, you're such and such," are you testifying? Is that your testimony? Now they know. Holy crap! This guy is the judge. Oh shit! Get me the fuck out of here. They want
Here come the judge.
Exit, stage left. I mean, he won't. They won't even try. I'm the judge in my court. Is that your testimony? He'll freak. You just say it again. It's not your testimony. Are you testifying to that? I'll accept your testimony if you want, or I'll give you the opportunity to withdraw that testimony if you will. He'll flip.
So basically, you could say that to anything that he states.
Well, let's say they say, well, so were you doing 50 mile an hour in a 32 mile an hour zone? I didn't realise I was here to make legal determinations. I don't think I can make a legal determination on the question you've asked me. You don't say I can't. I say, I don't think I can make a legal determination on the question you've asked me.
I like the way you think.
Wait till you hear the rest of that tape from last night, Dave. It's kind of a bit of a potted version of this. About there's about 10 minutes of it that nail it completely.
You see, you got to prepare yourself not for what to say. You got to prepare yourself for how to be.
How to be, yes, exactly.
To be, not to be. That is the.
And that's what I realised that I didn't have.
Yeah.
I've got the theory. But,
okay, here's another one. They love this one. Is that your signature on the document? Now, all the other guys and all the other websites all across the world are trying to give you sentences to say so that you will deny the signature somehow. Whereas I'm actually very happy to tell them. I'd be delighted to. But I would do so in a certain fashion. I might, let's say they hold out a document, they go, we have your signature on the document. That's your signature. Oh, I'm sorry. I made an honest mistake when I put that there. Now you see, they're bollocks because A, you've said you're sorry, you've accessed forgiveness. B, you told them it was an honest mistake. They can't make honesty illegal.
Yeah,
they'd love that. They can't. And you told them you put it there.
Right. So there's no controversy.
No, you've already taken care of all that before you even told them you put it there. And in one sentence, always. The breath of life. Anything you ever have to say, make sure it's one sentence and you can say it on one lungful of air.
So that they can't butt in and break your flow.
And if you start to say something, do not stop until you've finished.
Yeah.
What you do is you do not. I mean, seriously, if you're going to say something, so let's say you're starting to talk and you try to interrupt me while I'm talking. Mm-hmm. So if you've asked me a question, I will respond. And if you start talking while I'm responding, I'm going to just keep on.
Right.
But it's very simple.
Yeah, sure.
And if he gets up and leaves, you wait till he's out the door, rotate and go the opposite direction. You're done.
Oh, okay. So, but, what we've heard so many times that when the judge actually leaves, they get rid of you and then they come back in and have the case without you.
Yeah, just sit down the back. Sit down the back in the peanut gallery with everybody else. And just wait there till the day finishes, perhaps. Or have a buddy sitting there who can, if they call the case, he'll just give you a shout from outside the door of the courtroom.
Sure.
So
Okay.
just walk back in. Oh, are you addressing me? You go, no.
I can see I'm going to have a lot of fun.
A lot more fun than you would have had doing it the way you thought you were going to do it, Dave.
Yeah, well, I was going to have fun anyway.
Well, it is fun. Well, look, I mean,
The consequence.
as I said,
the
the only reason this language, I call this passive language. It's the passive use of language. You're not actually trying to hurt them. See, Roger Hayes went in there. He went in looking for a scrap.
Right.
He's lucky he didn't get jailed for fucking contempt.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that sometimes if you say, is it civil or criminal, they sometimes make you a counter offer. They'll say, oh, it's a violation. Right?
Right.
And see, a lot of people have stood there scratching their head thinking, oh, shit. Well, it's either a civil violation or a criminal violation. So the same question stands. Civil or criminal?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of got that no matter what, it was going to be one or the other.
Well, it has to be. There isn't anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. But I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to have to change my whole tactic, I guess.
Like I said, to be honest, you're going in there with the intent to not hurt them. If you go in there with the intent to cause a ruckus, you're going to jail. If you go in there with the intent to not cause harm or loss or damage to them, that you'll get your remedy. It's not that you'll get your remedy. You're giving yourself your own remedy. You're making your remedy. You're letting them know where you are, how you are, and who you are, and that's how they become your servants. They recognize, oh, shit, the sovereign's in here. That's how you enter into your sovereignty. You demonstrate it. You don't claim. I mean, the Queen doesn't go around tipping people on the shoulder in the palace and going, I'm the fucking Queen, you know.
Yeah. So, do you go into the court? You described just walking up to near the front somewhere. Do you actually claim your common law rights and stuff?
You don't have to. You got them. You don't have to claim anything. You already have it.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the way people go on coming in here with all me common law rights and acts, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
No need to do any of that.
Okay.
It doesn't do it anyway. So what you're doing is you're letting them know you don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And making it their, putting the onus on them that they have to then prove what's going on.
Okay. All right. From everything I've heard up until today, I thought that was a prerequisite in order to make sure you're not sort of going in there under another jurisdiction.
Well, see, the court doesn't start until they just keep going, yeah, you can enter with all your common law rights intact. In you come. Name, Dave Murphy. You come in with all your common law rights. They said to you, what's your name? And you just fucked them all away again.
Yeah, you just waived it, yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah. And what about the games they might play to gain jurisdiction?
Well, try me.
Sit down there.
Are you addressing me?
Okay. Yeah. All right, nice. All right, that's fair enough.
I mean, if they sit down or I'll arrest you. Let's say a cop will sit down or I'll arrest you. Again, are you addressing me? Because if he just puts his hands on you and pushes you, well, fine. But, you don't have to stand up screaming assault or anything like that. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Wait till he steps back. Yeah. Wait for your opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge. You can always take care of that later. I mean, Mr. T once said to me, look, even if you go in there and if they cut your foreskin off, be happy you get out with you still got your prick.
Okay.
That's not contract. That's just some guy saying, get out from underneath my shelter. Okay, this guy thinks I'm trespassing. I don't think I'm trespassing, so I'll leave.
Right.
Or
Then
maybe I feel like a walk. You don't have to tell people when you feel like a walk. I mean, you don't ring people, hey, I feel like a walk. Is that okay? You just go for a walk. That's not contracting. That's just going for a walk.
yeah. But then this is the thing. Once they feel they've got you out of the court, then they can go ahead without you.
Well, remember this thing where the story with Mary Elizabeth Croft's book where the guy with the toothpick. See, that's bullshit, believe it or not.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I saw one similar with a guy who was told to sit down, and as soon as his bum hit the seat, the bailiff basically dragged him out of there.
You're talking about Ian Freeman.
Yeah, I think that was one.
Yeah. No, he made a balls of that. But he made a balls of that before he got in there. All he had to do was ask, are you addressing me?
Mm. Okay.
And he'd already walked up and sat down in the defendant's place, you see. I wouldn't have been sitting there. I wouldn't have been standing there waiting for him either.
Right. Okay, so how come that one was bullshit with the toothpick?
Right. Well, okay. It's not complete bullshit. What I'm saying is, so the guy says, I'll take that toothpick out of your mouth. And the guy reaches up and takes the thing out of his mouth. Now, okay, it's not a great thing to do. But had he taken it out and said, are you addressing me at the same time? He would have had to say, release him.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was a stupid thing to be doing, really.
Yeah.
Could I suggest that possibly the best advice would simply be to be prepared for long pauses while you consider the very next thing that you say or do, and remaining stock still and dead silent until you have made that decision?
Well, don't take too long to respond. If you want time to respond, let's say you say something to me and I'm thinking, oh, fuck, what am I going to say to that? I would, you know what, okay, I think an appropriate response to what you've said to me there, well, you know, you see what I mean?
Filibuster.
You're not saying something, but you're not saying anything, but you're talking.
Yeah, that's what they call filibuster.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you can't blind them with science, baffle them with bullshit.
Okay.
You'd need me in the courthouse for that one, wouldn't you, Dave?
Sorry?
Call Ninja Hijack.
You'd need me in court to keep them wrapped up in bollocks for long enough for you.
Yeah. Oh, well, why is it coming out this side?
Yeah, Jack will be in there. Sorry, just wait a minute. Just tap that microphone for me. I can sort that, you know. Just give me a sec. I got me pliers out in the van. Hang on.
Now, have you got mute on that? Is that muted? Are you sure that's not muted? No. Are you sure that's not coming out the other channel?
1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh, this is
Well, you see, I'll be honest with you, Dave. I mean, I have been kind of looking for an opportunity to talk to you for some time to kind of fill you in with a lot of this stuff. And you see, I think part of it is a lot of people don't realise just how much different the approach that I have kind of here is to what everybody else is. I think everybody assumes everybody's doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
And this is completely different, I think. But
Now,
it is easy.
So have you actually, done this in practice?
Ah, yeah.
Well, it sounds like plenty of times then.
Well, I mean, look, again, it's... you see, the problem with this... I haven't told a lot of people about some of this because... I mean, I talk about it on the radio, but I don't... You see, you can't... There is no cases that go with this, you see, because it doesn't generate cases.
Right,
Therefore, there is no record because nothing happened.
Right. Didn't actually get to the case.
There wasn't... Yeah.
So perhaps the grand gesture that you were looking for, Dave, is just to export the nothing happening in courts up and down the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think of how much more people... See if everybody's going in, no, they get the report, these freemen coming in court, with me inalienable rights, blah, 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 doing this, making statements, fucking gestures, claiming rights. They get to tear you apart in the press, right?
Mm.
Whereas if you're just going to say, well, are you addressing me? Well, who everybody would be sitting there in the packed courthouse going, why didn't the judge just say, yeah? What the hell did you put up and leave for? He only just said, are you addressing me? What the hell is going on here? It's a whole different level, I think.
Sure. Did you know that there was another case last Monday in Hereford with Guy Taylor?
How did he get on?
Well, it got dismissed.
Okay.
Well, he basically did a sort of cross between what I was going to do and what Roger did. So he basically...
I think I was talking to him the night before. I think I told him a thing or two before he went in.
Oh, okay.
On top of that, I'll just say one thing as well. This thing they do, respond to answer the question yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
They try to limit you to yes or no. Well, the response to that is yes or no.
With a question mark.
That's funny because I was trying to when I was practicing answering a question with a question, I was getting stuck on a yes or no type question. I couldn't think of a good response for it.
There you go. You know what I mean? You'll have a cup of tea, Dave. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Will I? Yes or no? What the fuck? Where the question is, will you have a cup of tea? I might.
Mm.
We sign this document. I might take care of that later. See, you've just dismissed him.
Yeah.
You don't say you are dismissed. You just say, I might take care of that later. Well, it's never later, right? It's always now. If they try this shit, we'll hold this case, we'll hold this standing till the end. Are you addressing me? I am addressing you. I'm here now.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
Oh, you dropped out, I think, Jack.
Is that what it is? He's gone.
Bloody hell. No, I'm here.
Okay, try again.
I was just saying about the Star Trek show with Data playing chess against a human or a living adversary. And just the little tale that Dave told about his ideas with the council tax being around not losing the game and simply playing not to lose rather than playing to win.
Yeah, there you go. There's clues and everything.
Yeah.
And you see, there's a reason for playing not to lose. What was Data's reason for playing not to lose?
Well,
everybody got pissed off at him if he played to win.
Well, yeah, that's the storyline was that he got beaten by this human, and he shouldn't have because he's a computer, and he couldn't figure out why he lost. So what he did was change the parameters for playing the game.
Yep.
So rather than play to win and pick up the obvious avenues to success, he just played for a stalemate and frustrated his enemy.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that as well. There was also a point, if I remember that episode correctly, where, there was a couple of comments where, well, kind of nobody bothers playing Data anymore because he just slaughters you every time.
Right. Okay.
Think of the Queen's champion, for example. Anybody who gets into battle with the Queen's champion, who tries to kill him, gets slaughtered.
Yeah.
So eventually, nobody's going to fight the Queen's champion. However, if the Queen's champion just keeps fighting for a draw all the time, then he's still going to get challengers, and it makes the Queen look good.
Yeah. I see.
And everybody has sport and enjoys themselves, and so the wheel keeps on turning.
Yeah.
It's all about keeping the wheel turning.
Wow.
See, that's what comics... Okay. Everybody gets up, everybody is very... Well, I haven't quite gone through this in the radio yet. I was going to go through it possibly this Sunday. There's a lot of people upset about the IMF. But to be honest with you, they've no choice but to bring in the IMF or a one world currency for that matter. Because the mathematics is blown out of all bloody proportion on what's here at the minute. They've no choice. Their system is the currency started off in a small town, and then it spread to other towns, and then it spread to the country, and then it spread to the nation, and then it spread to another nation, and then another nation, and then another nation, till all nations have this currency. Well, then those private currencies were about to blow out, so they start joining countries together in unions, and they introduce a new currency, and they get to start the game from scratch again. That's what the New World Order is, in currency terms. It's no big deal.
But isn't the other option Iceland, where you just say, no, we're going to do our own, don't they?
But I'll be honest, they're lucky they're not fucking nuked at the moment. You know, like, oh, Jesus, you'll never guess what, boys, we were doing some nuclear testing and a missile went haywire and you'll never guess what happened. Put our fingers, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, there might be some harp rumblings under a local volcano sometime soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, Iceland did have a very unusual volcano, right?
Yeah.
I think that was a little now, boys.
Yeah.
You've been in this game a long time. These are the guys in the Gulf and whatnot. You know, they're pulling them in, kicking and screaming, whether they like it or not. Now, they're doing it for a reason. Now, the problem is a lot of people in England, America, blah blah blah. They're all basically claiming, oh, we want to go back to the way they have it in these other countries with no central bank, yada yada yada. You see, you can't actually do that, because it will hurt too many people. You see, they know, for example, if the currency collapses tomorrow, they're responsible for a lot of people. Think of all the OAPs, for example, that live at home on their own, who depend on being able to collect their pension and get paid, and nurses coming to mind them and blah, blah, blah. And if those nurses aren't getting paid, they'll leave their jobs, they won't come on. Millions of people will die. Millions. So you can't have that. That's why I went and found the mathematically perfected economy. I'd heard about it 20-odd years ago, and I knew it existed, I just didn't know where it was. That's why I went Googling it, and I found Mike Montagna, and lo and behold, he was the originator of the bloody thing in 1968.
Yeah.
I heard about it in 84, I think, through that book that I read, Fatima and the Great Conspiracy.
Yeah.
That was when my research began. You see, I've been researching this stuff for flipping donkey's years. Which is, for example, I say to people, look, Black's Law Dictionary, while remotely interesting, that's not what they use in court. They use what's known as a dictionary of modern legal usage. The judges call it the Judge's Handbook for short.
Right.
I mean, I have another couple of books here called How Judges Reason. I mean, that's an education. I always studied what the judges did and what the sheriffs did, not what the solicitors and the barristers did. And if you're reading Black's Law Dictionary, Rob Menard and the guys, they're studying what the solicitors and barristers did. I never bothered with those guys. I don't even speak to those fucking agents. I mean, if they start talking to me in a court, I ignore them, man. I only give a fuck about the guy at the top.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what they say. I mean, if they were to tap me in the shoulder and start talking to me, who are you? I don't recognise you.
Yeah, that's what I understood, that when you go in there, there's only two people, you and the judge.
That's it. And no, you and the guy trying to decide which of you is judge.
Yeah.
And when you're damn certain sure you are, then he has to be in the other position.
Right.
And that's testifying. He's testification. That's why if he starts talking to you, you say, well, are you testifying to that? You see, why do you think they ask you, is that your signature? I mean, they know you bloody signed it. Mortgage documents, no, they know you flipping signed it. So why do you think they ask? They're asking you for your permission to use it against you because you're sovereign. In other words, if it was the Queen in there and she had signed something that gave a slave permission to steal her Jaguar, and the slave comes up nervously to the Queen and says, excuse me, Mom, you are the Queen, yes? And she says, yes. Right. She wouldn't, but however. Well, let's assume she did. She forgot for a moment who she was. She says, yes, I'm the Queen. I have a document here that says I get to take your Jaguar. It's not your signature. If she says yes, she's given him permission to take the Jaguar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they ask. because they don't want to just take it. That could be dangerous. That's stealing, you see.